I think the vast majority of Muslim women who access banks on a daily basis, it's never been a problem. I think this
Taking it off?
No, I don't think it is. I go to banks regularly. I see Muslim women in this country wearing the niqab and actually utilising. I think what the central issue is here is that there is a clear attempt to limit the freedom of individuals. And as a liberal, as a person who passionately believes in freedom, one of the great British values, I think it's very dangerous when a political party that aspires to be a national party representative of this country lurches further to the right and puts itself in direct competition for the BNP vote.
You're playing into the BNP's hands here, Gerard, aren't you?
It's got nothing to do with them. I'm not interested in them, and never have been and never will be. I think it's a bit rich to talk about liberal democracy when this is a cultural custom that comes from countries like Saudi Arabia and Afghanistan.
So you don't believe in democracy?
About, the complete opposite end of liberal democracy that you can possibly imagine.
Well, Gerard, we're talking about...
Mr. Shafiq said that, Muslim women go into a bank with no trouble wearing burqas. How do you know it's a Muslim woman? How do you know it isn't a bank robber? I mean, what we're saying is that there's one rule for some, i.e. you and me, that can't go into a bank with our face covered, but there's another rule for other people in our society because of their supposed religious beliefs, which isn't a religious belief at all. It's a cultural custom from a completely different alien culture.
I go back to the central point, whatever Gerard's preconceived concept. We're talking about the United Kingdom, and it's not rich. Democracy is rich. I'm passionate about being a liberal democracy. I think that's something that we should be proud of and not dismiss as Gerard is trying to do. The central principle is freedom. We believe in the right of women to choose how they dress. For me, not as a Muslim, as a human being who believes in freedom, that's my central principle, and that's my central argument. In terms of the security issues, yes, there are question marks about these issues, and I think the vast majority of Muslim women who wear this a particular thing for religious reasons, for cultural reasons, for whatever reason, I think we defend the right of women to choose. And I think it's patronising that Gerard and UKIP are telling other women how to dress. Are you going to bring a Pacific law into ban the bikini? No, you're not.
No, but you have one in Saudi Arabia and you have one in Afghanistan.
Well, I'm sorry, Gerard, we're not in Saudi Arabia.
You're very selective.
We're not in Saudi Arabia. We're in the United Kingdom.
Women in countries like Saudi Arabia and Afghanistan and other fundamentalist Islamic countries are not free to dress how they wish.
No disrespect, Gerard. I'm not talking about Afghanistan or Saudi Arabia. If you want to debate about foreign policy, we can have that debate. But if we're talking about UK, the United Kingdom, then let's talk about United Kingdom. Let's not just jump onto these preconceived conclusions.
I'm interested in finding out more about. I'm interested, Gerard, in finding out more about this policy that will be announced.
Yeah.
Spell it out to me.
Well, it isn't spelled out yet because I think that the announcements have been a bit premature. We haven't put something out in writing yet. What I'm suggesting to Lord Pearson, I had a meeting with him this week to discuss this, amongst other things, is that we should have a policy that that the face coverings, or that people basically, whoever they are, whatever their beliefs or non-beliefs, have to uncover their faces in public buildings, in government buildings, hospitals, schools, colleges, airports, public transport, etc., for identification purposes, so it applies equally to all. People can cover their face in the street if they want. If they want to walk around with their face covered, then, UKIP is a party that believes in free choice. But we all have to abide by the same rules. So if, as I said, in public buildings, and again we would give the right to private buildings and private businesses to require people to show their face on their premises.
So Nigel, Gerard Batten, are you telling me that a Muslim lady who refused to remove any of this would be asked to leave a public building?
Well, if I go into a public building or a bank with a balaclava on, I'll be asked to remove it or leave, won't I? So why shouldn't a Muslim woman?
And you're equating someone wearing a balaclava walking into a bank with someone wearing a niqab.
Why is it not equatable?
And that's the issue. The issue is you associating a perfectly innocent woman who chooses to wear the niqab for whatever reason, equating with... what he's trying to do is trying to link this up to criminality, and I think that's deeply wrong and offensive.
I'm not doing that at all.
And what it actually shows you is that since Lord Pearson...
the same rules should apply to everybody.
No, absolutely, and I agree with you. And there's a separate debate. I think you've got to read up on the counter-terrorism legislation that's been passed by the Labour government. There are clear Pacific elements of that counter-terrorism legislation that allows the security services and people at police protecting this country from asking women to actually remove their niqab, and actually that has happened. Women are very happy to do that, but I think what we've got to accept is that since Lord Pearson has been elected, he's shared a platform with somebody who attacks Islam on a daily basis, Gert Wilders. We've seen a lurch further to the right, and I think that's deeply worrying for British politics.
Can you confirm to us tonight, Gerard, that this will be part of UKIP policy?
I certainly hope so, and Lord Pearson is keen to promote it, and I back him up on it 100%.
Let's see what we're saying at home already about this story tonight. 0500 909 693. Ranjit in Wolverhampton. Ranjit, good evening to you.
Good evening.
What do you think?
Personally, I'm Asian, and I think it should be banned.
Why?
Because at the end of the day, you walk into a bank with a cap on, for example. The people in the bank will ask you to remove that cap. So you are sort of more or less, your facial, are shown on camera. And, you go back 10 years, people weren't walking around the streets I can't remember what it was called, the whole face more or less covered.
Ranjit, thank you. Saeed in Rotherham. Hello, Saeed.
Good evening, Stephen.
Go ahead.
First of all, the politician you've got on, is he an elected MP or
MEP?
He's an MEP, Gerard Batten. You can speak to him. Speak to Gerard directly.
The British people have more brains to elect somebody like him who doesn't even know what the hijab and the niqab are actually religious symbols. They're not cultural symbols. The Muslim woman has to cover all of her body apart from her hands and her feet, which include her face. Listen, mate, I'm a Muslim. You're not. You're here to criticise our religion. You do not know nothing about our religion.
I take my advice.
Telling us, you are telling me about my religion. Don't tell me and don't talk over me about my religion.
It is not a religion. It is not in the Quran that women have to cover their face.
Let's calm down.
That's a fact.
Let's calm down. I want this to be a conversation tonight, Saeed and Gerard. So if you've got a question...
Have you read the Quran?
Saeed?
No, but I've consulted somebody who knows it by heart in Arabic, who has assured me that it is not in the Quran that women have to cover their faces.
1 second, please. Right, let's stop. Let's stop with both of them. Let's stop. Let's bring both of them out. Here's the score. You got to let me chair this. Saeed, I want you to put a question to Gerard Batten this evening, and then don't be shouting over him as he tries to respond to you.
Stephen, I won't put a question to him.
Saeed, what is your question for Gerard Batten tonight?
My father is a criminal symbol for criminals who go and rob banks. A hijab and a niqab is for Muslim women, right, who do not want to show their faces, right, apart from their husbands to any strange man, right, which in Islam states the Muslim woman, right, has to cover all her body apart from her hands and her feet. Now, Gerald, I don't even know his second name.
Gerard Batten.
Pardon?
Gerard Batten.
Gerald Batten doesn't even know